Just so hello everyone and welcome to the very first episode of Ankahi. The reason for starting this show is because I wanted to discuss topics that are not really that big and taboo, but things we experience on a daily basis and contribute to our lives and personalities greatly. Experiences and feelings that no one really wants to discuss. So, without further ado, I'd like to introduce our very first guest on the show. Today, we have Hira Hyder with us. Hira is a celebrity journalist and has been vocal about social issues and the nuances of South Asian culture. I met Hira through a community group, and we have connected on Instagram ever since and have discussed a variety of things here and there. Seeing her work and her opinions on important topics, I was itching to have a proper chat with her today. And today, I'm very excited and grateful to have you on this chat.
Hi, Iqra. Thank you so much for such a sweet introduction. And I'm really looking forward to all the topics that we are going to unveil.
Thank you. Thank you for, and I cannot tell you how happy I am that you not only you agreed to come to this show, and yeah, let's get the ball rolling. So I have my biggest question for you is that a lot of people know you, a lot of celebrities know you as a journalist, and you've been doing this for a long time, and you have a lot of experience under your belt. So, what got you interested in journalism? I know you have there's like a mix of things in your on your social profiles. I've seen you interviewing celebrities, but at the same time, you've been quite vocal about social issues, whether it's global or cultural problems. Specific to the South Asian communities, which is great. But I'm really interested in knowing what was that one thing that really cemented your career path in journalism.
So I think I'll start off with when I was 4 years old, literally as cliche as it sounds. I kind of knew what I wanted to do because I was pretend to have a hairbrush in my hand and as if I'm hosting my own show, and I would forcibly make my cousins sit down and make them listen to all the babble that I was saying. So it started off from there. But as I grew older, I had a very, very strong passion for reading, for writing. I finished my first novel at the age of 7, and it was Harry Potter, of course. So, I mean, writing journals, short stories. I was never much of a poet, but just creative writing, that's always been my domain. And as I grew older, of course, because of the faith which I belong to as a Muslim, as a Shia, a lot of my values were deeply rooted in the fact that I wanted to be the voice for those people who cannot voice themselves.
Right.
And especially, growing up, my family, the way my parents raised me, especially my mother, she would always emphasize on the fact that, हक के लिए अपनी आवाज उठाओ, जो गलत
Right.
बात है उसको गलत ही कहो, no matter how
Yeah.
right or how correct or how normalized it's become in society. So,
Right.
these were the factors that contributed to it. And then in grade 11, so I went to school in Dubai. And the system was the British system, and I went to a private school, very
Right.
preppy, if I do say so myself, very preppy.
Yeah.
But, I have to give credit to my education system because it really polished my skills. And I was one of the top leading students who scored the highest grades in English, and I owe that to my teacher, Ms. Veronique. She always prophesies that a day will come where Hira is going to be giving interviews, and I'm going to be sitting as an old lady, exactly, in a rocking chair and listening and reading about her. And at that point, as I said, 17, 18-year-old, I was like, whoa, like, what is she saying? But it actually came true. And I don't think we give our teachers enough credit, the ones who build us up, but they really do see through us. And then after that, I went on to studying at the American University of Sharjah, which is one of the top leading universities within the Middle East, and even worldwide, it is recognized. And in second year was actually when I had the opportunity to pursue my passion as a journalist. And that was when I auditioned as a live TV show host for an internationally aired TV show. And it was the only TV station of a Pakistani channel within Dubai. So, I mean, as a 19-year-old, I learned so much, and there was so much of exposure. Definitely. But, even then, I think what kept me very grounded and focused on my grades as well as my values and, cultural roots was my mom, because she said, she was like that, you're the first girl who is going to be going into the field of media, but you need to remember what family you do belong to. And I mean, I was very privileged to come from a family where our confidence was built at a very young age.
For sure.
But we were never told to kam bolo, aisa haso, that kind of thing. No, but we were raised within the cultural boundaries, which are very much sane and which are very much logical. So whenever we heard a no in our household, it always had a reason behind it.
I think sorry, I'm cutting you off.
No, go ahead.
I think I can see that even the way you communicate and the way you carry yourself, even on social media, even though we've never even met in person, but it shines through. And I've seen there was a clip with your mom as well once, and it was very evident, right? Like when you see someone speak in a certain way, you can see like the whole upbringing that's behind it, right? So
absolutely,
I think that's really great that you mentioned it, because I think in a lot of South Asian cultures, there's a lot of like very criticism, especially towards girls, and
definitely
it's really good to know that that wasn't the case with you, and to know that you there was culture, but those I'm forgetting the word now, but those all these stereotypes attached with media, and like हमारे यहाँ it's always like no 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 without any explanation, without anything else. So
Bilkul. And you know what, Iqra, another thing is that we're three sisters, and then we have a younger brother, and my youngest brother Ali, he is 8 years younger to me. But you know what? Something that I absolutely love about our household, and something which is a privilege, and perhaps मैं शायद दूसरे घरों की situation ना समझ पाऊँ because I am so privileged myself. Because अम्मा और बाबा ने कभी भी फर्क नहीं किया that this is our son, this is our daughter. Ali has the same curfew. Mashallah, he's 21 now. He has the same curfew that we have. He has the same chores at home, which we, in fact, kabhi kabhi Ali wohi kehta hai that, guys, it's not fair. I have to do the dishes all the time. So, it's a very friendly and
but I think that's the charm, right? Like when you guys go out there, make your own families, get married, have kids, then those values would be transferred, right? And then
absolutely, and it comes down to absolutely, it comes down to deconstructing these regressive cultural ideologies and actually implementing our faith. I mean, I think there's a serious lack of education with regards to faith. हम लोग अपनी degrees, bachelor's, master's, PhD तक की ले लेते हैं, but how much do we know about our faith? Right? If we learn and study about that, it makes life so much more easier. And if we implement it within our households, तो फिर तो कोई मसला ही नहीं होता.
But I think the main problem is that we want to follow culture, but we want to give it the name of Islam.
Absolutely. I completely agree with that.
So there's just so much clash because, and I think like Hamaria, it's not necessarily, like I was just thinking about this the other day, it's not always about right and wrong or culture versus religion. Sometimes it's just about, generation versus generation, right?
Oh, yes, definitely. But that is something which I always reply with. There's an Imam Ali alayhi salam quote, and I'm paraphrasing this, that, do not raise your children according to your time because they were born for another
time. Yeah.
Exactly.
I always go back to that too. And I think there's just a wealth of knowledge and information that's just out there for us already, especially for the followers of Imam Ali, right? Like he is known for his knowledge.
Oh, but yes.
We a lot of times we just forget that, and we do what's convenient for us, what will be accepted, and that's most of the time I don't think it's the right thing. And forget about everyone else, but even for your own life, it just becomes very restrictive, right? So I think maybe the first step is the hardest, but once you take that first step in the right direction, then your life is good afterwards. But I think it's just like as a nation, as a culture, it's just really hard for us to, I guess, wrap our heads around that.
Definitely. And unfortunately, I do see that, like, apart from our parents' generation, even our generation has adopted those regressive ideologies, those toxic traits.
Yeah.
And I mean, we really need to introspect, and we really
Right.
need to keep in check that are we really wanting to carry on that culture?
Yeah, I mean, we hate a lot of things, but unknowingly we're doing the same things.
Definitely.
So
Yeah.
I guess just like, I guess learning is just as important as unlearning, right? So yeah, I just think that these
Beautifully said.
conversations are very, very needed. Um, and I guess a lot of people are just, I mean, the whole point of this series is so we can actually talk about things that, people are uncomfortable talking about.
Definitely. Definitely.
So, yeah, tell me a little bit about your experience on social media and just being very real to yourself and your values and showing that side of your family. And yeah, I think it I can tell there's a very real person behind whatever's getting posted. So just talk about your experience. And I know being a social media star or a public figure, it's really not always golden glitter. So, yeah, tell me a little bit about your experience and what you have faced, whether it's dealing, talking about celebrities, talking about the culture, or just in general talking about global issues.
Well, first of all, thank you so much. Honestly, you're like brighten my day up. So many kind words. So thank you for that. And I feel like that is my greatest success when actually people say that they see authenticity through my platform, because I have always strived towards that. Because you know what, it's very easy as a content creator, as a journalist, as a media personality to
Mm-hmm.
get swept up in all the glitter and all the glam. I mean, from a very young age, I'm 28 right now, and at
Mm-hmm.
19 I stepped into the field as that too when I was just in second year university. So I mean, things such as designer clothes at the snap of my finger, or having personal makeup artists or hairstylists, this is something very normal for me. But
Right.
when I see that my old school or university friends, they say that, "Hera, tum to bilkul nahi badli, tum to वैसी बात भी हो, tum to वैसी
Mm.
हरकतें अपनी करती हो." I feel very happy, because it
Yeah.
means that, alhamdulillah, it did not get to my head. Because unfortunately, I have seen a lot of people who start off as excellent content creators, authentic content creators, but they get so swept up with all the numbers and followers and fame that,
Right.
it's like a bloody circus out there.
I know. I know.
Literally. And that is something which really upsets me, because they've lost themselves, they've lost their individualities. We even see this happening with celebrities. There are very
Yeah.
rare, authentic and true to their kind celebrities like Mahira Khan, Yumna Zaidi,
Yeah. Yeah.
Sajal Ali, Aisha Umar, who are the true stars, yet
Right.
they
Right.
are still so grounded. When you meet them, they're literally
Mm.
like the most humble people you will come across.
And
So
I
I
see
feel,
them getting so much hate for that too, just for
yeah,
being
you know
real.
what, Ikra, getting hate is the thing is that आजकल की दुनिया में जो है ये negativity has become a dominant trait. आप कोई अच्छी बात भी अगर देखेंगे online, तो you will receive hate. And
I
it's
agree.
very
Yeah.
sad. It's very sad. But when I receive the most hate, it's because when I write things regarding to faith,
Right.
because
Yeah.
I'm apparently not Muslim enough.
Oh yeah.
Because I don't take a hijab apparently, or I mean, normally मुझे इसी चीज का सबसे ज्यादा लोग कहते हैं. And inshallah, I pray that someday Allah does give me the strength, the tawfiq to do hijab. But I honestly feel like those people who are hijabis, and who apparently, these men who are apparently very prominent in our community, in our Muslim communities, the way that they degrade people, the way that they put people down based on their own arrogance, that हमसे ज़्यादा पास तो कोई हो ही नहीं सकता.
For
I
sure.
feel
Yeah, that's
I
that's
feel
their loss and that's
I
their
feel
defeat.
very sad for them. Exactly,
Yeah.
because that's when the shaitan is most successful. When the shaitan actually leads you towards believing that there's nobody more pious than you, because it's a blatant sign of arrogance, right? At the end of the day. So the most amount of hate that I used to receive would be during Muharram. especially with my Muharram series that I commemorate every single year. But, you know, with time, I've seen that this has lessened the amount of hate that I've received. Why? Because I think there is a lot of acceptance. There's a lot of patience and tolerance that people have developed. And I think perhaps मेरे जो audience हैं, I'm very privileged that, you know, my Instagram tribe, literally the amount of love, affection that I receive from them is unbelievable. You know, it really, really is. मुझे I think rarely जो है कभी कोई ऐसा negative comment मिलता है. I don't even remember the last time when I received one. And I don't know. I guess maybe that's a blessing in disguise because I am a very sensitive person. So Allah knows that probably if something like that happens, I would feel very much heartbroken. But, you know, with time, I've developed thick skin.
Yeah.
And yeah.
I guess sometimes you have to just to let it pass and, you know, not take it to heart. So certain things are just meant to,
definitely. Definitely. And I mean, you know, I would also want to put this out there that a lot of times we're bashing brown aunties, but, you know, my family and I, we are very much active in our Desi community, you know, especially my mother, of course, because we commemorate as a Dari. And I mean, just there's a lot of social work that Amma does as well for the community. And the amount of aunties that actually root for me, it's really exhilarating. Because, you know, when you have older people, especially older women, pray for you and, you know, appreciate your work and really, really appreciate the fact of how you have carried your journey on, it makes you feel good. It gives you more courage.
Yeah.
So, you know, not all brown aunties are monsters.
No, for sure. And, you know, it's
definitely.
like, even for them, right? Like, for them, like, they're doing what they know best, right? Sometimes they're just not aware of certain things, and I guess maybe some of them are actually open to learning new ideas. So I guess
that's where we have to be patient.
Exactly.
With
As
them.
the younger generation,
it's
just like
and
they
explain to them.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And I just wanted to add that speaking of judging someone's faith by the way they dress, yes, I get it. Like in our religion, there's a certain way one has to dress, but at the same time, I think people are slowly starting to understand this. Just because someone wears a hijab doesn't mean they're a better practicing Muslim than someone who doesn't wear a hijab, right? Because I've seen, like, some of my friends, I have a friend who used to wear a hijab, but she only wore it because she was forced to, and then, you know, she wasn't really practicing, but on the outside, she was perceived as someone who's practicing, right?
Absolutely.
And then when she took it off, then she started understanding it more. She doesn't wear it anymore, but she understands the religion more, right? And then she automatically implements it more. So,
see, Iqra, we all have our own individual spiritual journey. But I guess growing up in the Middle East, you know, from the age of 13 to 24, I lived in Dubai. And what I saw there was that hijab was more of a cultural thing rather than a faith. Yeah. And of course, going on to university where we had people from, I mean, we had royalty studying with us. We had royalty from Saudi, from Qatar, from Bahrain. I mean, literally, I would be sitting next to the Princess of Bahrain during a class. And during our mass communication classes, literally, it used to be a very safe space. And people from the royal family would say that, you know, the head covering is not really something rooted by faith for us. It is something that is really cultural, and not just the royals. I mean, just even the common folk, even they would say that, you know, I mean, it's a head covering. We're used to it.
Right.
So, I mean, I'm not saying that everybody who wears hijab is just doing it for culture, or there are
so that you really have to look beyond the surface for anyone, right? To
absolutely, definitely,
to make that judgment.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think judging somebody is it's just something very easy to do, and you can do it immediately. But I think till you do not get to know someone, you cannot judge them.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's just being arrogant.
Yeah, I agree. And I see that happening a lot on social media these days. And
yes.
So many things with social media, and, you know, it's even easier to judge someone through the screen, right? You never have to talk to them, you never have to deal with them.
Oh yes, and people have a lot of Paris time. So that's another thing. But I mean, you have to develop thick skin, and you need to kind of be very mindful of where you're investing your energy. अगर आप बैठ के सिर्फ एक दो negative comments को सारा दिन रोएंगे, तो I mean it's their win, right? Rather focus on the other 20 comments that people have said, which are good things about you. I'm not saying don't accept, you know, constructive criticism.
Yeah, but there's a way to say it, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So the other question I wanted to ask is, so a lot of problems and a lot of things actually have come about during the pandemic, and I think just in general, this last year and a year and a half have been crazy in terms of not just the global pandemic, but you know, so many events have taken place worldwide, whether it's you know, anything to do with the environment, the genocides, and then now a lot of, even though this has been happening for a long time, but I think the world has finally woken up to the Palestine issue.
Of course. Of course.
And, yeah. So what are your thoughts and your experience? I've seen you posting about them regularly, not just Palestine, but things that are happening in Pakistan, Yemen, and all around pretty much. So.
See, the thing is that I strongly believe in the fact that when you are advocating for human rights, you should not have any kind of prejudice within your heart, because human rights are human rights. Like, khalas, that's it.
Yeah.
There's nothing, there's absolutely nothing that comes before or after it. It's something that's very common. It's something that we've seen the great leaders of Islam, our prophet, our imams of the Ahl al-Bayt practicing, you know, they never differentiated between ethnicity. When it came to Palestine, I realized that a lot of people were advocating, and I was very happy. But then a lot of individuals started to say that we're really upset that our Christian or Jewish friends who live here in North America, in the US, Canada, or even UK, they aren't advocating for Palestine. And as a Muslim Shia, I felt this wave of irony, because a lot of the Muslim Ummah who are not Shia, they don't even bat an eyelash when the Hazaras are being, you know, massacred. Or in Yemen, the crisis that has been there, it's been prevalent. Or even in Bahrain, what's been happening with the Shias. I mean, even in the UAE, you know, the way that they're being deported. There are so many stories that I can tell, but you know, that is something that really caused me pain, because I was like, okay, you know, you're being sensitive about your personal cause, but what about all the other causes which you have completely shunned away? And that really, really frustrated me.
Right.
And I mean, this is something that I think people really need to understand, that do not just follow a humanity trend, a human rights trend. Like when Black Lives Matter happened, everyone started talking about that. When Palestine's issue, which has not even an issue, I mean, it's a genocide, it's been happening for the longest time. Exactly. So, you know, just because things got completely out of hand and it got more media coverage, it became another trend. And then we see that people are not even posting about it anymore because it's no longer a trend, right?
And it seems like you know, there are just these trends every summer or every season. Last summer it was Black Lives Matter. This summer it was the whole Palestine issue. And then I even noticed that the same people who were talking about Black Lives Matter, they aren't saying a word about Palestine, right? So it seems like it's just become this whole thing of convenience, right? And
absolutely.
And I think that also needs to be like, I get it, social media is very, very powerful, and then, you know, we've all seen the results of it. Just today I saw Ben and Jerry's, they aren't selling on the occupied land. So I 100% believe it's very, very powerful. But at the same time, I think we need to bring these issues and make them more present in our lives away from the screen as well, right? Because it looks really good that, oh, I'm sharing this, I'm sharing that, this one post that everyone's shared. So, you know, you kind of have your spotlight moment when you share those posts and talk about it online. But what are we really doing in our lives, right? I see people still supporting those brands that are anti-Palestine. So, those things are very like little things, but I guess like people need to be mindful where their money is going, especially in today's world, because
Yeah,
there's so much.
practically working towards it. I completely
Exactly.
agree. And another thing, that when you are advocating for human rights, I mean, take religion out of it, take ethnicity out
Yeah.
of it, take your nationalism out of it.
Yeah.
Recently, the tensions which are arising between Pakistan and Afghanistan, I actually was in conversation with an Afghan girl, and she said that, you being a Pakistani, Hira, I really appreciate the fact that you're actually raising awareness about what's happening without, saying anything in favor of your country. And I said that, you know what, if Pakistan is going to be on the wrong, then I will call them out on it.
Right.
If
I mean,
Afghanistan will
nationalism
be on the
isn't
wrong, I
bigger
will
than
call.
humanity, right? Nationalism is something
Exactly.
created by humans, so I don't think it should be something that gets in the way, right?
No, definitely, that's just hypocrisy. Human life is human life. It's not
Right.
that Pakistani lives are much more important, but these politics, I mean, again, you either are siding with politics, or either you are siding with human rights. It's as
Right.
simple as that.
Mm-hmm. And you can, I mean, like when I think about it, I see, I see people being some of the Pakistani people, in fact, they're so patriotic that they don't really care about right and wrong. But as long as, um, like in Pakistan, it's considered patriotic to side with Pakistan and hate on India, right?
Uh-huh.
And that's like it's just another example of just the Pakistan and like it's not the Pakistan and Afghanistan equation is not so prevalent, but with Pakistan and India, we've been on at war for decades, right?
Of
So
course.
what I don't get is that yes, they're gonna be against it, but they're not gonna be. They're just against India because that's what they've been taught, and that's what, like, it's like you have to prove your love to your country by hating on another country, right? And to me, it's crazy because like those people are more passionate about hating on India or any other country that Pakistan as a country doesn't like. But when it comes to human rights and actually, hating all, like not humans, but like or organizations who are doing all of this, then they're silent. So I don't get where their passion lies.
Mm-hmm.
And just like even with like Pakistanis are known for having a heart, right? But where is that heart when when Muslims are being tortured in China, right? But because they have good political relations with China, no one's gonna say it,
Absolutely.
or the media won't
Yeah.
cover it.
Actually, unfortunately, the thing is that हमारी आवाम से ज़्यादा पढ़े लिखे जाहिल और कहीं नहीं है, especially when it comes down to Pakistan. And it's
Yeah,
not just Pakistanis within Pakistan. I'm talking
yeah,
about Pakistanis internationally.
right, right.
I have spent time vacations in Pakistan. I have lived in Dubai. I've lived in Toronto. Even as a child, till the age of 13, I was raised in Toronto. Then I came back here. It's been 5 years. So, I have had like this experience in these three rich countries. And what I've observed is that because of patriotism, I mean, you can hate on other countries, but what are you doing as patriots to
Exactly,
improve your own country? I
exactly.
mean, and unfortunately, with Imran Khan as our leader, I do not agree with how he is running things.
I
There
know.
are genocides of
Yeah,
the minorities happening. Look at what is happening with the children. They are being raped.
yeah.
What about the women? They
Like,
cannot
it's
step out
happened
of their
so many
homes.
times, so many times. Like, I don't get it.
Nothing is being done. Nothing is being
Something
done.
needs to be done to prevent it in the first place, right? Like once the deed is done, you're out and about looking for the culprit, but these things should not happen in the first place, right? You
I
cannot
mean,
undo it once
I
it's
I
done.
strongly believe in the fact that rather than bettering your relationships with other countries, focus on the chaos that is happening within.
Yeah.
Because within, I mean, I have foreseen this, and I really think that um Pakistan is going to turn into Afghanistan eventually with everything that's going on.
Yeah.
We can see signs of it. We can see the signs of extremism, the way how these mullahs are running the country now, the way how they are not questioned at all whatsoever. It's a wreck.
There's
So
no sense of accountability.
exactly. So it's very important that, people try to fix what is happening within.
Yeah. And us speaking like this, it might even, like, to a third person, it might even seem like, oh, these two don't even live there, so it's easier for them to make these comments. But I feel like those sentiments aren't, like you said, it's not just for Pakistanis living in Pakistan, but even here. And yes, we don't live there, but we are constantly in touch with our relatives, and we're aware of what's going on. And it's just that, like, I don't know, I just wish, and there's that option, there's that potential, but that's being wasted, right? It's just always on the
Absolutely.
wrong things.
No, Ikra, I'll tell you something. I love Pakistan ka mahal, the culture, the way. Khair, ab to bahut kuch change ho gaya hai. I think Pakistanis living outside of Pakistan who haven't visited for a lot of years are shocked when they see the changes.
Yeah.
That, oh my God, I mean, they're more modernized, or whatever you want to call it, liberal, any title, than Pakistanis living abroad. But my point being that I would love to live in Pakistan, but I can't, because number one, I'm a woman. Okay,
Exactly.
there's going to be a constant fear of
And
my
that is
safety.
enough for you to
Number
make that decision.
two, I'm a Shia.
Oh yeah.
Okay, my life is going to be at stake. My Nana's family actually migrated from Pakistan back to Dubai because they wanted to spend some time in Pakistan, but they said no way, because they were on a hit list
Right.
as a prominent Shia family. And
Yeah.
number three, I mean, as a journalist,
Oh yeah.
I'll tell you something. So I actually wanted to do my internship in Pakistan. I wanted to have the full experience. So I was a broadcast journalist for about a month with Dawn News.
Yeah.
And हमारे एक senior reporter थे, उनसे मैंने कहा था कि यहाँ पे क्या opportunities है, I'm loving what I'm doing right now and stuff. मगर उन्होंने मुझसे कहा, हिरा बीबी, जैसे आप हैं ना, आप जिस तरह से बात करती हैं, आप किसी को छोड़ती नहीं है. His words were, because he had worked with me for that long. He's like, या तो आपको उठवा लिया जाएगा, या तो आपको मार दिया जाएगा. आपके लिए यहाँ पे कोई जगह नहीं है.
No, for
And
sure. I have no doubts about that. I mean,
yeah,
for a
I was
person who
bewildered.
is sincere to their job in general has no place in Pakistan. And then for someone in the media, you're always under the spotlight, right? You can't say what you want.
Exactly.
You can't say the right thing. You have to say what people want to hear.
Absolutely. No, I really do pray that a day does come where, Pakistan will be safe enough and bettered politically, that those Pakistanis who would want to come and live there, they can.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely possible, but I guess it just requires some, like,
it requires heavy work.
Right.
Heavy work.
But it's still, I personally think it's still possible, and not just on the government's end, but also on the people, right? It's in their hands too. First of all, they don't need to blindly just follow what's there. And I think if people in Pakistan, they are crowd followers, so they don't necessarily think, they might believe certain things, but it doesn't show in their actions, because it's so much easier to do what the rest of the community is doing, right? So
absolutely.
I think just like even these little things in their daily lives could really help. But yeah, for anything to even start, people have to be willing to make that switch.
Definitely.
Yeah. Thank you so much for taking the time out. I know you've been very busy. So many things are happening in your life, and now you've started real estate, was it, or
financial advisory?
Financial advisory. Yeah, I was like, it has to do something with finance. I just can't remember what it is.
Yeah, that, and then plus also I've been selected to be a part of the Women's Council here in Mississauga with MP Iqra Khalid. So
that is so impressive. Congratulations. Could you talk about that role for a bit? Just so I understand what's...
Of course. So basically, MP Iqra Khalid had started the Women's Council a couple of years ago, and her basic initiative was because, you know, she wanted women's voices to be amplified. So what she does is that, you know, she holds these meetings and interviews, and after that there's, you know, a selection that happens. So I was one of the number was quite large. I kind of forgot how many women applied for it, but within our riding, Erin Mills, there were many hundreds of women, and I was really blessed to be, you know, selected as one of the representatives. So, you know, we will start with full forever once things with COVID fall back into place. But basically, we're going to be addressing a lot of issues that are happening within our riding, and, you know, make it a point to somehow reach them to Ottawa as well, especially with the legislation and the assemblies. So lots of heavy duty work that is going on into it.
Yeah, but I think it's such a great opportunity for you. And I don't think I can't think of a better person to do this job than you. So
I'm so humble. Thank you for that. Thank you.
I think it's really like, you know, like, I think it's just an extension of your job as a journalist, right? Advocating and using your voice.
Definitely. I would definitely say that. I'm very lucky because it's something that,
yeah,
it's something that, you know, I feel like I'm made for. You know, when you find your
yeah,
calling,
definitely,
like that's
yeah.
it.
And I think in today's times, more than ever, it's needed, especially someone from our community, and not just from the Pakistani community, but also from the Muslim community, right? So it's
I
so
completely
important.
agree. I completely agree.
The events that have taken place recently. So
Definitely. I know. Yeah, no, for sure. I completely understand what you're referring to, of course, with the Islamophobia that has actually risen in the past few weeks, we can say. But you know, I mean, it's everybody's responsibility to do their bit, and you're doing your bit by, you know, creating such a show. And I know that this is going to go far for sure.
Thank you. It means a lot. This is something I've been wanting to do for months and months, but you know, over the last few weeks, it was like, you know, don't just think about it, go for it.
Yes, that's the way. That's the way to do it. You know, don't think so much. Just go for it. Take that leap of faith.
And I'm someone who has been like, I loved, the only reason I think I have social media is so I can share my work, but I was never someone who wanted to share my face or, like, you know, just my voice or anything of that matter. I just wanted to be that person behind the scenes. But I think even for this one, I think I because, like, you know, हमारे घर का माहौल, or, you know, और जो चीजें होती हैं, for that no one would even like that, and it's never really encouraged कि भाई आप YouTube videos बनाएं या कुछ, you know, something of that sort. So
every family has their own boundaries and their own set of rules, and we all need to respect that. But, you know, we can always work around it and do our bit. And, you know, when our niyat is saf, we can always make a difference in some way or the other.
I hope I can.
I'm sure you will. You already are. You already have taken the initiative. So yeah.
Thank you. So I thought, yeah, maybe if I just do, you know, audio only, then that's a start, and then we'll see later on. This is also for me testing the waters, and then once I see that, okay, it'll be safe, it'll be okay, then maybe I can put myself out there. And yeah, I guess sometimes there are restrictions, but then those restrictions are only there until you prove yourself, right?
Definitely. To yourself and to those around you.
Yeah, for sure. So that was a very, very, very insightful session, and I can't tell you how excited I am to edit it and then finally put it up. But yeah, I feel super refreshed, and I think for me that only happens with very few people.
Oh, thank you.
It's rare, right? Like, you meet people and then you leave refreshed instead of being tired, because usually if you're just meeting in big crowds, or, you know, you're socializing for the sake of socializing, it can sometimes be shallow, I think. But I think this conversation has been very, very amazing.
It's been very personal.
Yeah, and I think when I was shortlisting the people for this chat, I wanted to have people who I can actually who can speak their mind to me, and with whom I can speak my mind as well, right? So there shouldn't be, otherwise there's no point of having this show. I think it would just be another, formal interview type of things that we've seen so many times. So
I think you've done a great job, Iqra.
Thank you, Hira. And I think we should wrap it up. Otherwise, we could speak forever.
Definitely, yeah.
So thanks again for coming, and I wish you all the best with your future endeavors. And may you continue to shine like you always do.
Thank you.
And remember me in your prayers. I will remember you in mine.
I definitely need lots of prayers. Prayers are the reason why I've reached where I am today.
Yes.
So I need genuine people like yourself praying for me for sure.
Thank you. No, it's amazing. It has been a pleasure just interacting with you in general, not just right now. And yeah, I'm so grateful to for our paths to have crossed, and hopefully we can come together in the future and be able to create solutions.
Inshallah.
All right, Hira, thank you so much, and have a wonderful day. And
you too,
I'll
Iqra.
see you soon.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.